Macarons are fraught with challenges, and anyone who says otherwise is lying to you through their rose-tinted spectacles. They're anything but easy, but through identifying a few pitfalls along the way, the journey can be less about blood, sweat, and tears, and more about enjoying a challenge. First, let's get our egg whites to room temperature and start measuring up our dry ingredients for sifting. In goes almond flour, salt, powdered sugar, and cocoa powder. Cream of tartar and sugar will be going into the meringue, as well as a fan favorite, vanilla extract. Load up your food processor with said dry ingredients for sifting. Blitzing it in the food processor is just going to make sure everything's homogeneous and decrease the chances of air bubbles later on. Now work your ingredients through a sieve, making sure there's no bits of almond in particular, little bits of husk and stuff, make it through the milling process. Now for the French meringue. Once your egg whites start getting a bit foamy, that's when you can start incorporating your sugar. I usually do it in a few different batches, just slowly letting it, work its way in and dissolve. Once your eggs start to get to soft peak stage, you can add your cream of tartar. This will help stabilize your egg whites, making sure the proteins don't stick together. Certainly something to not skip. It's an unfortunate name. Pretty sure it comes from the musk that is scraped off of old wine barrels. Why they couldn't call it something better than cream of tartar, I don't know. Nearing stiff peaks, add our vanilla extract. All right. It has clung its way up into the whisk big time. I mean, that's just crazy in itself. It looks like a perfect meringue. Through all my testings and failures, one of the things I notice most about making macarons is it's not like a traditional meringue. You don't try to maintain the meringue consistency. You take it and you beat the crap out of it until it's this, lava, which by the way, I hate the term lava for this. A lot of people say lava. Who knows what lava looks like? Who's seen lava? You know what I saw the other day? Honey, runny honey. That makes a lot more sense while leaving as much air in here as possible. But to get to that consistency, invariably, you're gonna have to beat out a lot of this air. Hence why it's super important to get to stiff peaks on this one. With your ingredients all ready to mix, we can start what the French call macaronage. Now I like to do a scrape fold method, so I'm trying to cut under with the dry ingredients and slowly rotate them in like you're making a ball kind of shape as you go. Gently mixing, cleaning off your spatula to make it look a little bit more presentable, and working away, maybe 40 something, 50 strokes. As you near the correct consistency, you'll notice the mixture start to get a little bit more of a gloss on it, just a little bit more patina, and just keep testing until you see that ribbon falling unbroken, and like so. Okay, we're gonna take our piping bag, fold the nozzle over so that any material doesn't come out when you start filling it. Get it into a nice little vessel. And now with your piping bag, we're gonna cinch it off at the back like so. And we're gonna start piping in the little small circles, which will then expand outwards to fill the big circles. I'm just doing a lift and pull technique to end my meringues, kind of releasing tension at the same time as I'm lifting up. If the consistency is right, it shouldn't trail off. Another technique you can do is a little pull and whip technique. You'll see a lot of people doing this. It's a great way to ensure a bit more uniformity. Next step is pummel these against the table about 40 times or so. This will help smooth them out and at the same time encourage bubbles to come to the surface while you do it. Using a skewer or something pointy, you can now pop the biggest and most obvious bubbles. This can get kinda crazy. Just get the biggest ones and then walk away like the bigger person. We'll let these sit for about 30 minutes to an hour or more, just so they form a nice skin on top. This allows that little foot to come out and also make sure they don't crack when you're lucky. Into the oven these go for 15 minutes at 300 degrees. Once done, you can start the process of matching them up. No matter how much you try, these are going to be a little bit different, so you got to go through and just try to get them as close as possible. And yeah. For the Black Forest Gâteau Cherry Chocolate Ganache, we'll measure out some black cherries. Into the pan goes your butter. Just let that foam for a few minutes to heat up and then add your cherries. This is just going to slowly start breaking them down. These are frozen, so it's going to take a little longer. Black cherries have a nice sweet flavor that doesn't compete with chocolate. In goes the kirsch. This is a key ingredient of the Black Forest Gâteau. Just let the alcohol burn off. And now the slow simmer to break down the cherries. Using your spatula to just kind of help them along by breaking them up, exposing more surface area, and keeping it moving while breaking them down and evaporating liquid at the same time, just intensifying the flavor. Into the food processor it goes. Blitz that to fine puree and set them aside while we work on the other part of the ganache. Into the pan goes your heavy cream, breaking in the chocolate into small pieces. We're just going to cook this on low until it melts down. This is a little bit more of a risky way to make ganache. Normally you'd heat up your cream to just about boiling, kill it from the heat, put your chocolate in, let it sit for 10 minutes or so, then stir it up. Ensures that it doesn't split as much. The higher percentage chocolate you're using, the higher percentage there is of splitting. Let it cool down until it's a pipeable consistency. Not quite a frosting texture, but not an icing texture either. Take your matched up macaron shells, put your ganache into a piping bag, and create some generous dollops of cherry chocolate ganache in the in-between. And delicately sandwich them together. Allow to cool as long as possible. Little tiny macarons. Fun little things to enjoy. Good times. And once your ganache is done, fucking shut up. Almost unbelievably, there's a French term for beating in. Resisting off camera, resisting eating meringue off camera.